Not settling for less than you actually want, because I started dating. That was a fantastic experience until I completely was done with it. Paying 50-50 was a standard to me. And then I asked the question, what kind of woman should I become to attract such a man? Intimacy after marriage. I had months when I was like, I don't need a relationship, so I feel amazing on my own. So then started my phase of being single for 2 years. Loop of am I good enough? Am I good enough?
Welcome to my channel. Here I share interviews with inspiring people, stories of my travel adventures, and talk about business and esoterics.
Hello everyone, my name is Samantha. Welcome to my channel. Here I create interviews with inspiring people, share my own personal stories and insights. And in today's video, I will share my relationship journey. And this is the topic I don't speak in social media at all, as I like to keep my private life private. But recently I went on a road trip with my best friend, and she said, wow, you actually have so much experience in relationships and you have never shared it, even though that would be so valuable to other people. And then I thought, really, if I went through so many lessons in this sphere, so many processes, and in the end actually have a positive result, why don't I share my journey on it, with hope that it might inspire you, show you another perspective, and also a good practice for me to be just vulnerable, not be afraid of my own vulnerability, because there's nothing to hide. In this relationship talk, I'm not going to offend anyone or saying that I regret anything. It will be actually my personal development story through the prism of relationships. Let's start with my whole relationship journey. I'm now 23 and I've been in relationships since 18 years old until 21, basically without any stop, like maybe a few months of break. And all the relationships that I had in my life, they started, in a very random ways, without thinking too deep whether this will be a healthy relationship, whether this will be my person, whether I want such a person. Oftentimes even starting a relationship without even getting to know that person or understanding who I am, what I want. And when I was younger, I was a big people pleaser, a girl daydreamer that was dreaming of a romantic relationship and just, looking at some guys and just falling in love with them. It was a beautiful period in a sense that I was such a dreamer, but at the same time that was harming me so much, because every time I felt like if I was together with someone, I liked them more than they liked me, because I was fully in their energy without thinking about myself. My priority was the other person, not me. And yeah, when you're a people pleaser, you usually attract a narcissist or some kind of person with, with the opposite dynamic. For example, if I'm really into that person and I'm all very needy for their attention and everything, you would attract the person that is the opposite, because they have the resistance to such a inflow of emotions, and they would have some commitment issues, which was my case. Like, I think for really, how much it was, 3 years, I all the time faced the same problem in different ways and forms and so on, that I was more into the person and the other person had some commitment issues. Every time it seemed to get better, but there was still this dynamic that I don't feel that this person is ready to commit to me. And I was always the sort of serious relationship girl. I was never really into some short-term thing. I just didn't understand, like, why do you need it? It's just not in my character, So yeah, and that sort of dynamic caused a lot of stress and created a lot of traumas in different spheres, about my looks, getting really insecure, The trauma because the other people were less committed to the relationship, I was thinking, so my thought pattern was, if they're not committed, then I'm not good enough to be like their, number one attention priority. And so that created all the time this loop of, am I good enough? Am I good enough? And that's also how I just felt not confident in myself and in who I am, because I haven't even figured out who I am at that point, right? I was like, beginning of my 20s, 18 years old. I was like, and every action that came from the other person made me feel worse about myself, that I'm not good enough. And so as I was in this bubble of feeling that my self-worth depends on the other person, I was all the time just going more down, down, down. Of course, I in the meantime tried to work on myself and my inner world, but I never really looked at the relationship dynamic and sort of always found like a problem in myself. And then when I was sort of 21, my last relationship, which was 2 years ago, ended. Actually, every relationship that ended, they were mostly ended really on really good terms. I really respect those people, and just any story that I have about my relationship journey, it's not about them, it's just about me, because like it could be any other person. It's not about them, and so on. And so yeah, I ended that relationship, and I understood. And I was actually happy it ended, because I felt that I needed time off of being with someone else, even though it is so tempting. It's actually, for a woman, it's so natural to attract men, and it's much easier to fall into some relationship, and it's much harder to stay single. So then started my phase of being single for 2 years, almost 2 years. At the beginning of my journey as a single lady, I just didn't want to think about men at all. I just want to focus on myself, on my career. This was the time when I started my own business. I went to coaching. I was so invested, didn't meet any people at all. I just needed to be in my own energy. And the thing I started with is just being happy and being at peace on my own, without needing someone else to validate me or to spend my time somehow. I really got used to go to eat alone, even to cinemas alone, to restaurants alone, even do trips alone, explore the ways how I can treat myself better. Until half a year later, or even a few months later, I understood, okay, I was for so long on my own that I start missing some dating. And then naturally, with this wish, I somehow attracted some people that with whom we started dating. Just not relationship, just simple seeing each other. And and then I said, no, I'm still attracting not the people who I want to attract. Something doesn't seem to align with me. And that showed me that just being alone, just taking time off is not enough. You actually have to work on your relationship mindset, figure out who you want to attract, what kind of relationships you want to attract, and then started the phase of me learning about it. Not even like learning, but focusing on this and exploring this topic in me. I went on different courses. Some of them were good, like they were mostly all really good courses and programs, but just some aspects, now that I look at them, don't align with me, like some really harsh principles of like intimacy after marriage, or some like things that I think you shouldn't teach, but the person have to look inside themselves and understand whether it's actually their wish or some kind of standard, some imaginary standard you should follow. And those courses and my own work and my personal tools of self-development and inner healing exploration led me to several healing stages and several stages towards the relationships I would want to attract. First one was, being okay, being alone with myself, giving the love I craved from someone else, giving it to myself, dating myself, actually feeling so good, saying compliments to myself and so on. you know, and at one point I had months when I was like, I don't need a relationship. I feel amazing on my own, like truly, without any faking. That was also a journey getting there, right? Second step was figuring out, like, okay, what kind of person do you want to be with? And that also took a lot of weeks and months, because how you can know whom you want if you don't know any examples, you haven't like focused on it, or you maybe had some examples, oh, this couple on Instagram looks amazing, but it only looks amazing. You have, you know, sometimes we think we want one thing, but when we get it, we actually didn't want that thing. So I was really trying to figure out what are the key things I want. And in the end, I came to a conclusion that you don't need to figure out like a massive list. Yeah, you can have a list of what would be nice to have, but there should be like core 5 qualities of the person that's the most important to you. Maybe I can even share mine. So if we're going to be vulnerable, for me it was number 1, the person is serious and takes responsibility. The responsibility, yeah, because when you take responsibility, you can take responsibility for your other partner, for your family, for your business and all of that. Second thing was just being a good person. That is crucial to me. I cannot really be with person with generally bad intentions. Third thing was generosity, not just money wise, but in general. Being a generous person means the person can say a compliment, person can give like do something for charity, person just can be open. It's also about being open, right? So these were my top 3, and I don't remember exactly, something else was also there. And also there were, yeah, of course, a list of things that it would be nice to have. For example, I don't drink alcohol and I'm vegetarian. I preferred, okay, it would be amazing if my my partner also would have the same habits. So I figured that, and then I asked the question, what kind of woman should I become to attract such a man? That is crucial because we all just want something, and in our head we cannot imagine our current versions be with that person. And then was also the practical part where I changed how I look, how I feel, how I show up, and how I think about myself. Was a lot of mindset work where I told my new story to myself about myself, that I'm no longer a small girl who is not good enough. I'm a confident woman with big dreams, big goals, with a lot of value and just a lot to give to the other person. And oh wow, I just felt so nice because I feel like that right now, amazing. And after that, know what came after that? That was the fun part. So I was already a year single. After a year, I started dating, like going on a lot of dates intentionally. Not because I craved some attention, no. I was already feeling good on myself. I just needed to use all my knowledge and everything I gained in action. So I started going on a dates and started learning to communicate my feelings, my wishes, my standards. Because from a girl that had no standards, like I don't need anything, not really, like paying 50-50 was a standard to me, which was a big step actually overcoming this, or that I need compliments, or that I need to be like, so that the person opens the door for me. That is everything I learned and cultivated in myself, because deep down I always wanted that. I was just so insecure to ever even allow myself to wish it. And so during this dating period, which lasted around maybe 5 months or something, yeah, 4 or 5 months, I really tested these standards, sometimes in an even harsh way, because when I was in that completely small girl type of mindset, I needed to test this completely even more like egoistic type of personality to then arrive in the middle where I'm now, where I have standards, but they're something that comes naturally from me, that I'm not faking. It's just who I am. This is what I want. And yeah, that period was super helpful. I didn't create any relationships from those 4 or 5 months of dating. Was mostly just to understand what kind of people are there, to understand how do I express myself in those dates, how how people are treating me, and how with time the people I attract, how they treat me, that really changed as I changed my inner world. That was a fantastic experience until I completely was done with it, decided to go to Bali, and then completely no dating, almost no dating at all. And in Bali, it was just my inner personal journey, inner, even deeper healing. There, I just cultivated my new identity. I was cultivating feeling good again, because it's continuous work. You cannot just for one time just decide to feel good alone, but it comes with shifts, right? So Bali was about another transformation, and then and also let go of the attachment to finding someone, to being with someone, because it already was so amazing to be with myself, such a deep self-love, which still is in the process and cultivating, of course. But I came back from Bali, and very soon I met my person I'm currently with, that really aligns with my values, with my sort of manifestation list, which we are both super surprised about. And that's it. I won't go much deeper about that. I just want to say the main lesson for me was, besides everything I told, is that not settling for less than you actually want, because your wants, if they're from your heart, if your standards are from your heart, you deserve them. And eventually, when you yourself will change to match those standards, you will attract that person. Don't settle for something in the middle, because that will just drain your energy. Only once it will like match 100%, only then it will create the formula 1 + 1 is not 2 but 11. So yeah, that was it. Also, for those subscribers who live in Latvia, I invite you to join a brunch about relationships, conscious relationships, on 29th of July, together with a relationship and a communication coach, Maria. It will be a very beautiful brunch where we will explore this topic. I will help with my experience. Maria will help with her knowledge, and everyone will have the opportunity to share their relationship story and get the answers you crave to hear. So almost, I think even tomorrow I will announce it, so follow me on Instagram to get to know that. And I will really appreciate any kind of feedback about this video, because this was a big step for me to be so confident in my skin to share something like this. So let me know. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video. Bye.